What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. I'm going to give it a sec as people trickle in. And I'm going to make two disclaimers in advance. So one, I'm not using a green screen. I'm obviously coming at you live from TD Garden. And two, I am sitting in someone's seat that is not my seat. So there's a possibility that I will be kicked out at one point. And we'll probably just wrap it up there unless it's like in 5 minutes and then I'll move. But thanks everybody for joining. My name is Noa Dalzell. I cover the Celtics for Celtics blog, for SB Nation, as well as for CLNS Media. And this is part of my new series to kind of provide daily coverage about the NBA Finals. So this is coming at you live from TD Garden. We're over 4 hours from tip-off, so this is your pregame coverage. But hopefully this gives you an opportunity to ask some questions. Let me know if you have any questions. You can put them in the chat box. I see some comments here about I talk fast. I apologize. I can work on it, but I will say I listen to all my podcasts on times 2 speed. So it just, I think everybody else should talk faster, but I know that's not a good answer. So I will try to talk a little bit more slowly today, and probably forget about that in 5 minutes. But yeah, right now at TD Garden, there's nobody on the court yet. There's like some dancers that have done some of their pregame routine, and then some of the first coaches just came out. I'm kind of looking over like Blaine Miller. I see Jordan Walsh actually just stepped onto the court. So some of the stay ready guys are going to be out there. Jordan, JD Davison, Drew Peterson. JD and Drew are actually ineligible to play. And so this is one of those things that, they're still going to do their routine. They're going to play, but they're two ways, and then they'll be sitting in street clothes. And it was actually pretty cool last game. I don't know if you guys saw, it was on TV and it was also in-house, like in the Jumbotron, but Drew Peterson was sitting in the crowd because he doesn't have a seat on the bench because he's one of the two ways. And then when Jaylen Brown had like that really great dunk, or actually no, the really great block, Drew was able to kind of, was like in the crowd. So he was kind of celebrating with him, which was pretty cool. And so, yes, yeah, I'm glad people like the background. This is an easy one because these are the shirts. You see there's different here shirts that everybody's using. And I'm sitting where this is where like all the national media people sit. So I think I'm sitting in like Yahoo Sports' seat or something like that. So I'm going to move if someone comes in this row. I'm a little stressed about that. But it was better than sitting in the press room where there was inevitably going to be a bunch of people walking by because everybody's coming into TD Garden right now. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're on Twitter, feel free to join on YouTube so you can participate in the chat box and answer questions. And this should be live on CLNS All Access as well as on my YouTube, which is Noa Dalzell NBA. And please subscribe to my YouTube if you are able to, so that way you can get notifications for the future shows that I'm going to do. I'm going to do one from the airport tomorrow. Really leaning into the whole coming at you live thing. So we're flying to Dallas tomorrow because there's going to be media availabilities on Tuesdays. And so I'll be kind of joining from the airport, waiting for our flight. So that if this is a hectic setup, then tomorrow will be even worse. So yes, I'm going to start reading the chat here. Good afternoon, everybody. Is KP now a member of the Stay Ready crew? He is not. He's going to be coming off the bench. He told Malika Andrews, and I think that was just makes sense because they've been so good with him, with that starting lineup. I would imagine they wouldn't change anything right now. But yeah, certainly he's definitely going to play tonight. He said yesterday he was feeling physically good. He was in good spirits. He said that the kind of coming out on the court felt like WWE. I always mess up that acronym. I only cover basketball, clearly. And so, yeah, he had kind of like a magical first half last game. I don't think we can count on that every single time, but I do think he's moving well. So I would expect that he plays well tonight and that he has another good kind of outing. Just looking through these. I've been getting so many DMs, like people yelling at me about saying that I'm like, I only like Jason Tatum or I only like Jaylen Brown. And like, which just shows you that they're both wrong because they both have been, everybody's bad at for a different reason. Like it's actually, they're like alternating. So I think they're both great players. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. And I'm going to do the no reaction that they both did yesterday to Jason Kidd's comments and not pick one. I think Jason Tatum has had, obviously to this point, he's been a more well-rounded player. I think Jaylen Brown right now is playing like the absolute best basketball of his career. But yeah, I'm not gonna do it. You can't get me. I'm still probably gonna get people are probably still gonna be mad at that answer regardless. see someone from Latvia. Super cool. I saw that there's a ton of global tune-in from both Slovenia and Latvia, so that's awesome. That's bringing. Yeah, so that's it's bringing in coverage from overseas. I was really surprised that Game 1 was the lowest like live attendance that there's been since like before the pandemic, except for the pandemic or something like that. I forget the exact year, but it was a really low year as far as viewership for the first game, which I'm surprised just because I think there is like a lot of storylines here and a lot of star power. But I wonder if it's because it was a blowout. Like I wonder how that impacts it, like people checking out. I don't know much about how they measure that stuff, but that was kind of one of my first thoughts. Mike here asks, will Tatum take the bait and go off or be the playmaker that worked well in Game 1? I think he's going to continue to be the playmaker. I do feel kind of bummed that whole thing happened yesterday just because I'm in the media. So, right, like I have to read and write and talk about these things. It was just a bummer that the day became about like Jalen and Jason rather than and like who's better and all that rather than like the Celtics and all the other. There's like so many storylines. That's my thing always. There's a million storylines that impact all the different players, bench players. There's never enough things to talk about. So my thinking is always like, why do we have to go back to this like tired narrative? I was actually gonna write a story like about Jason Kidd's comments and like how everybody responded. And I was like, I don't even want to like provide another like I don't want to let him set the agenda for like what our media coverage needs to be. So yeah. And they're gonna do some run throughs at TD Garden here. So if you can't hear me, let me know. I can like get up and move, but it would be like a 5-minute break. So hopefully this is fine. I'm just gonna be speaking into the mic. But I do think that he was just being intentional. I was sitting in the front row when he made that comment about Jalen being better than Jason. And I'll just say it was like the reaction in the room was done. And it wasn't because everybody like Jason is so obviously better than Jalen Brown. I think it's because of the fact that everybody recognized he just like dropped a bomb that was going to be the media story of that day. And that everybody was going to be asked about it. Everybody was going to be talking about it. And whether or not he thinks that, he also knows the facts. And the fact is that Jason Tatum has been All NBA for the last 3 years, and Jalen Brown wasn't even All NBA this year. So he knows that that's not the commonly held perception, or at least like it would be some sort of stirring the pot. Again, I don't think it's that crazy to take. Like they've both been amazing players, and I like hate that we even have to rehash all the time. But when he walked out of that room, it was surrounded by national media. Everybody was like, well, that's our story for today, right? So then Al Horford got asked about it. Obviously, I posted that clip. Jrue Holiday went on the radio and got asked about it. I'm still waiting for the question because you could only see his answer, and the answer was like, "I don't think he's lying," which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. But yeah, that's probably as much as I'll say about that. Just because I do think that Tatum's not going to take the bait. I think that the way he handled it, he said, we're both great players. We wouldn't be here without JB. And just made it clear that he's not going to like feed into it. He's not going to give a comment or he's not going to say something that is controversial. He's not going to fall into the trap effectively. And Jalen Brown literally was like no reaction. And I don't know that either of them knew about the comments before they stepped onto the podium. Maybe they did. I don't know if PR got to them fast enough. I know Al Horford did not know. I don't think, at least. His reaction was super authentic. So in any case, if you want to find Al Horford's reaction, you can find it on my Twitter. Probably most of you follow, but it's Noa Dalzell NBA, same as my YouTube. And I posted it there yesterday, along with like a million other clips from the days. And so just keep my eye out as reporters walk in to make sure it's not the ones that I'm sitting in their spots. What's it like watching live in TD Garden? Yeah, it's awesome. I rewatched the game on TV as well, and I do think like the crowd noise is a little bit muted. I will say though that definitely like the in-house feeling, there's just a lot of things you notice like the player reactions. I don't know why, I'm so fascinated by the bench and like the way the people interact on the bench, and so I always like try to zoom in and take videos of the bench players and their reactions to things and timeout breaks, just because you can't see it on TV, and also because I played basketball my whole life. So I actually loved being on the bench, like especially in college. I played club and most of my best friends were on the team, and I loved being on the bench, and I loved hanging out with and supporting and kind of being like O'Shea Brissett. So I always ask people about that because I think it's just a lot of fun. But so that's the thing that I think you gain from being in house, is just like seeing different things you just can't see on TV. But I will say I like having like a broadcaster too, just to help like break things down and point things out. Since there's an injury, you might miss it when you're watching live because like you happen to not look at that portion, whereas on the broadcast they always say it and then they zoom into the guy, right? So there's certain things that are a little bit easier when you're watching at home. I've watched my fair share of games at home as well. Standout player for the Celtics, Bruce asks. it's super hard to predict just because I think the beauty of this team is that every night it's a different person and it's a different player. And so I don't know that I can even, I don't know that I can choose one, but I guess I've been pretty good with that prediction so far. So maybe I'll just pick when I have the list of everybody, of the box score in front of me here. I'm going to say, I think Derek White's due for a solid night. Not that he's going to have like 30 points, but I think I wouldn't be shocked if he had a big night tonight. So that's going to be my prediction. I don't actually have real insight into why that is. I just feel like he's due for one. I don't think Jalen or Jason are going to like try to prove anything tonight. I don't think Jason's going to take 30 shots to show something. It doesn't align with everything we've seen from them this year. And so, yeah. This comment was in reference to the low viewership numbers. Illegal streaming definitely contributes to that number. I think you're probably right. I don't know if illegal streaming has increased tremendously in the last couple of years. If so, that probably helps explain it. I know lots of people that don't have cable that are watching in various places, so that's probably a good point. Kid knew what he was doing. I think he did, just because of who he is. I think if he was somebody else, maybe I would have thought, like, it was just an innocuous comment. It's his opinion. He probably believes it, too. I don't think it's like he was saying something that he didn't mean. But I think the decision to say it, like, you don't have to – nobody asked who do you think is the better player on the team, right? Like, we could be asking that question all the time. That was not asked. The question that was asked was the question that was asked was, how do you stop Jaylen Brown? Or how do you deal with a player like him? And then that was the answer. So it was just like, he kind of just, it looked like to me, he wanted to say it and he had it ready to go if he was asked about Jaylen. And again, it was the last question of the press conference. So he almost didn't get the chance to answer it. So in any case, that's that. I saw Luka grabbing at his rib cage a lot. He was during practice yesterday. I noticed that as well, like during the open practice. And so, yeah, I don't know. He's questionable right now. I would be like really, really shocked if he didn't play, just because of the fact that this is game 2 of the NBA Finals and he's kind of known for playing through injuries. So I think unless he's like literally unable to play, then he will play. But yeah, I actually saw that as well. And like, again, he knew a lot of media was there, so I'm sure he knew people were going to get videos of it and stuff. Not that he did it on purpose, but he definitely seemed to be like grimacing a little bit. Best pickup player in the Celtics beat is probably Jay King. I've played with him a couple of times now. He played in college, and he's like in his mid-30s, and yeah, he's pretty good. He's very good, I should say. I was guarding him for a couple of possessions, and it was tough. I didn't really have anything I could do. So he got in my head a little just because I was bummed that was like the media narrative, but I don't think it actually impacts the game. But I think what he did happen. Caitlin Clark, it is off topic, so I probably shouldn't even do it, but I think that there were other really good players that were left off as well. She'll get her time. She'll be fine. She'll benefit from the 3 weeks off. The hot take machines that are coming out about this topic, like people on Twitter are they're going crazy. So I'm a huge fan of hers, huge fan of women's basketball. I cover the WNBA, I cover the Connecticut Sun, which I will be doing a lot more of in a few weeks when this is all wrapped up. But I thought that at this point in her career, like being off that team, it's super hard to be on it. There were a lot of other great players that were left off that are like in their primes. And the whole thing with the viewership, like you got to pick the best players. You can't worry about viewership numbers. That's like not what the purpose of putting together an Olympics basketball team is, right? So yeah. I'm seeing confidence level. I have Celtics in 6. I had them winning game 1 and then losing either game 2 or 3. So I would say 50% chance. I'm going to predict they're going to win. I see Justin's comment, Justin Turpin, Celtics WEI beat writer. He said he's also sitting like right in front of me. So he said, "Who is the funniest beat writer? Actually funny, not funny looking." Listen, he's fishing for the compliment, but he's gonna get it. Justin Turpin is the funniest beat writer. So you can follow him for. Actually, I don't know if he's like telling jokes on Twitter, but he is. I'm trying to see if he's still on or not. He's sitting in the horizon. But yeah, he's really funny. Flying Pineapple asked, do you think that the Celtics get out of their play down to the competition if Luka's out? I don't think they have that in them anymore. I just don't think it's in their DNA. I don't think it's how they've operated this year. They had like the Lakers loss. That was the only game I can think of. And maybe in Charlotte in like November. And those were like 2 losses to teams that happened out of like literally a 96 game sample, right? Or I keep saying 96, so I think like 92 or something like that now with the playoffs. So I think that it's not a part of them anymore. And it's the NBA Finals. Like if you're if you're struggling with at this point with like motivation, you wouldn't be here, right? Like no team is playing down to either team right now. That's just not what's happening at this point. I think we are due for a D-White game. I don't know if this is before or after I said that. Probably after. But yes, I agree. I mean, he's been very solid, but I think I could see a world where he puts together like a great game at this point. Oh, you said that before I did. Okay, cool. Let's see. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad this is helpful. It's a little bit when I watched the replay, I was like interrupting myself reading comments, but I'm trying to make this like more of a Q&A just because I know that there's a million podcasts out there that are great that I listen to. So you probably don't need like another podcast for just now, but the point of this is to just give you guys a chance to answer questions, which is why I'm trying to answer all the questions, even the ones that are a little bit off topic. But yeah, we're going to do like another 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go down and take videos of the Stay Ready group taking shots so you guys can see that. I would turn my computer, but I have like everything is very fragile in my setup right now. So I'm a little worried that would that's going to mess with like my camera's going to fall or my light or my mic or something like that. So let's see. Justin Turbin asked who is the worst player on the beat. I need to stop it. They're trolling me. They want me to get distracted, and it's happening. Let's see. Yes, I am in the building. This is the real background. This is different tier shirts that every fan will get. Game 1 had "You Want Boston" shirts, which were pretty sick. So so far this playoff run, they've been doing shirts for Game 1 and then towels the rest of the way. But this time around, I think they're going to do shirts like every game. It's the finals. It's like $1,200 tickets to get in. So I think it's probably only right. I have a lot of 2022 finals shirts from coming here as a fan and buying shirts before I started covering the team or getting the shirts. So yeah. Let's see. Lakers fan 24. Okay, Celtics Digest asks, do you think we will see an adjustment going into this game similarly to when Brissett or Tillman got to play versus Indy? I don't think we're going to see anything like that just because Celtics aren't down anybody now. Like they're fully whole. You know, someone could get hurt. Knock on wood. I don't hope that. I never wish that on anybody, but I think right now they're going to go with the same lineup that they went for in Game 1. So Brissett, Tillman, I'm sure they're going to stay ready. I noticed Tillman every single time out break, he's like stretching, he's jumping up and down, he's staying ready because you never know. His name gets called. He can't be like checked out, sitting there stiff, right? So they're going to be ready to go, and Brissett and Tillman are both going to come out in like 10 minutes, I would imagine. So they're going to be ready to go, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see either of them at all unless it's a blowout in either direction. So yeah. I don't keep up with the ref drama. Someone here asked about odds on Tony Brothers hitting JB with 2 quick fouls. I noticed that I think Tony Brothers is the one that always gives Tatum texts for like waving him off or things like that. And I know he's one of the names that I definitely recognize him. I know he's one of the names Celtics fans hate, but is it specifically Jaylen Brown that he targets, or is this just a random prediction? I don't know. The Lively presser this morning, I wasn't there, but he just sounded really confident. He said he's going to up his physicality. I didn't get anything like crazy out of it. I don't know. People seem. I've gotten a bunch of comments in the chat about this, so I don't know. I don't know if people have specific things that they're curious about, but generally speaking, I thought it was a pretty normal presser. Appreciate Knicks fans joining. Some people might know, if you know me well, the Knicks were like top 3 favorite teams this season. Thunder, Knicks, Celtics are probably the 3 teams I enjoyed watching the most. I just think they have like great personalities over there. They're fun. They play hard. Lots to like. So you got a good team to root for, Dev. I mean, yeah, people are saying Lively said we saw the Celtics. He's going to be confident. Like that's the message he's getting. He's a rookie. I don't really read that much into any of the pressers, honestly, which is ironic because that's like all I cover, right? But they're just playing. Everybody's trying to say the right thing, do the right thing. You can get a little bit of them out of the pressers, but you're also knowing that people are saying things in a certain way because they want things to be quoted in a certain way. There's natural reactions. I think certain players say exactly what they're thinking. Like Porzingis and Jaylen Brown are 2 guys that I think come off very authentically. I think other guys are more PR trained, or not PR trained, but more like they kind of follow all the PR rules and say very little and that sort of thing just because they don't want to be in the news, which fair to them. I have no idea how much they're talking about these comments. I think probably way less than we are. I also think Drew was just elevating Jaylen Brown and was just complimenting him. I don't think he meant to become an aggregate clip that is being disseminated. I think he was just we also don't have the question that was asked. I reached out to NBA Radio to ask them for the clip, and they're going to share it at some point later today. But it's kind of hard to go off of his answer because his answer is about a question that we don't have. So I'm not going to say more about Drew's comments just because I feel like I want, I feel like I want to just leave that in the past and also need the full context. And I post a lot of clips. Sometimes I don't have the questions because I started filming too late. But I always you can find the clips elsewhere. It's weird to me that you can't find the clip at all. Like, it's not, the interview's not released, right? So that's why I'm not going to say more about that. Yes, this is live. Sorry, I'm trying to answer most of them. If you have another question, feel free to ask, but I'm just going through them. So this is 4:17. I'm like 4 minutes behind your guys' questions. So I'm just going through them in order, but this is definitely live. Where can we watch your videos? My YouTube is Noa Dalzell NBA. I can try to put it in the chat, but I'm a little bit worried about, I should not have done that. Sorry, my internet's a little freezing. Okay, so I was going to open YouTube to drop a link, but the second I opened YouTube, my computer froze. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you can find all my coverage at Noa Dalzell NBA, both on Twitter and on YouTube. And this show is called Live from the NBA Finals with Noa Dalzell. So if you just put this in YouTube search, subscribe, like the videos. I'm going to do daily videos through the finals, and then probably do I'm going to meet Summer League. I'll probably do Summer League coverage. I'll do a lot of stuff there. And then maybe eventually a more regular podcast with a Spotify and an Apple podcast and all that. What is the Celtics PR team like? Yeah, they're great. Honestly, they've been super helpful. Gotten to know them kind of throughout the year. There's a bunch of them. Different players are assigned, different PR members seem to be working more with different players just based on who comes out, different pressers. This round is all NBA PR though. So for example, whenever I want to go to a Celtics game, which is usually every game, we email Celtics PR to ask for credentials. But now this is run by the NBA, so it's all through the NBA, which is why I was a little nervous about getting credentials for this, just because you have to go through someone who doesn't know you at all, so you have to apply through NBA PR. And now it's I don't know anybody from NBA PR, so I just see them, I see the little badge, and then I know if I have a question about my seat or when can I get in or something like that, that's all NBA PR. But Celtics PR, I'm sure, is still dealing with a lot of PR things. Yesterday, for example, I'm sure they've had conversations with players and stuff like that. What was he supposed to say? I'm assuming this is about Drew. Exactly. I think there was nothing you could really say. Maybe I'm not responding to this comment, but again, that's kind of a robotic thing, and you have to be a certain type of player to say that. Why is Luka still listed as questionable? He has a chest injury. I forget the term for what it's called, but he was grabbing at it in practice yesterday. He also has a knee thing and a ankle thing, I believe, but I don't think those are why he's listed as questionable right now. But I would be very surprised if he is not going to play. I don't think the shirts in the crowd have anything to do with the uniforms they're wearing. If you want to know what kind of uniforms they're wearing, I feel like Sam LaFrance from Celtics Blog always posts them. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I can't keep up, so I don't know. But people are usually always unhappy with the shirts that they're wearing, regardless, I feel like. Where am I actually seated during the games? So during the games, I'm up really high, kind of near the balcony area. There's a press row where most of the media is, and then there's maybe 30 or so reporters that are where I'm sitting right now. And during the year, it's a lot more of the beat is here, but then during the playoffs, people kind of get moved up because a lot of the national TV people are here. And I actually like sitting up high because then you got the TV view and you can see the whole game. And just from a basketball standpoint, it's a little bit easier to see ball movement and spacing and things like that when you have the TV view. But I do want to get the iPhone 15 so I can zoom in and have really good quality. So that's on my list. For if you see, I always post clips from games and they're a little grainy. So that's the only thing I don't like about sitting up high there is that I have to really zoom in and it's a little bit blurry. Oh yeah, the Celtics social team, they're insane. They're so amazing. I know a few of them. I don't know all of them, but I was watching that All In episode, which you guys should watch if you haven't yet. It's Celtics Twitter account posted it today. I'm sure it's everywhere, but that's where I saw it at least. And I was watching it in my Uber on the way to TD Garden as I was walking in, and I literally had chills just because it was amazingly done. They're gonna win some awards if they haven't already. Yeah, they're incredible. It's kind of enhancing the experience of following and covering this team. That there's that multimedia coverage as well. So it's super super cool. And also, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. There's almost 1,400 people watching right now. About 300 of those on YouTube, which is really cool because that means I can see all your comments. We're gonna do like 5 more minutes, and then I'm gonna get down by the court, start taking some clips, clear out my seat. I feel blessed right now that I haven't been kicked out of the spot right now. I'm like on edge that someone's gonna come. Kada minutes. I love Kada. I think he has a bright future. I don't think we're gonna see him in this finals. Or unless there's like a blowout, but we're not gonna see him in the rotation. I think next year we're gonna see him as a regular season player. And then we'll see from there. But he just needs to, like, I think, get a little bit more familiar with the system and kind of the rotations and things because he has like so much natural ability as a defender. I think he's gifted really, and he has a high ceiling. Do I think Hauser's going off tonight? I don't think he's gonna like take that many shots. I think that's like the role that he's playing right now. But I would not be shocked if he had another very good game the way that he did in game 1. I think he's feeling himself in a good rhythm. I asked Peyton Pritchard about Sam yesterday. Peyton Pritchard was kind of telling me like it's really hard to be in this position where you only get a few shots and you have to kind of get in rhythm from those few shots and all that. So yeah, certainly like Sam hitting those 2 is good for him, but I don't think he's gonna get 15 points tonight. But if he can get 6 and play good defense the way he did in game 1, like he was instrumental to that game. Like guys like him have an enormous impact when they come in. Let's see. Some of the non-basketball questions I'm going to skip just because we're a little bit out of time. Also, sorry if I'm skipping your question. I see some people are mad about that. I'm not trying to. It's honestly kind of hard to focus on all the questions because there are also comments while also not losing my train of thought while things are like moving around me. So if you have a question you really want answered, like ask it a couple of times, I guess, and I'll try to answer it. I apologize if I skipped your question and you really wanted answered. Yeah. If Dallas goes down 0-2, do they lose belief? I think it rattles you, but again, it's happened. I think 2021 was not long ago. Drew Holiday was on the other end of that. They went down 0-2 and they came back and won. And I'm really glad that Drew has that experience because Drew can kind of provide that context to the locker room of like, I've been in this position before. I know what it's like to be 0-2, and I came back and we won in 4 straight games. So that's like an asset that they have, I think, in this space right now. But yeah, certainly like. Tonight's a big game. Like tying this up 1-1 versus taking a 2-0 lead, it's huge. Lively should have fouled out. Agreed. I think he fouled Porzingis a couple times where it wasn't called, but he did pick up 5 fouls in like a 6-minute stretch. So justice was served on that front at least. I'm not sure who this was about. Does Porzingis score 20 points? I don't think he's gonna come off the way he did last time just because it would be pretty insane to come off like that again, but I would say he's going to be somewhere in that like 15-20 range. So that's your prediction. Yeah, I think the foul thing is going to be tough for him just because Porzingis is not someone he's faced off against many times in his career, right? So like it's just inevitably going to be a challenge. He's a crafty guy. He knows how to draw fouls. It's been one of his strengths all year, right? Tatum doesn't play with confidence anymore. I don't think that's true. I think that he looks so honed in on making the right read rather than looking for his offense, and that frustrates fans who want to see him score 25 or 30 points. So I know some people feel that way. I was out last night in Boston, and a bunch of people out were telling me this too. Like Tatum doesn't play with confidence. I think it's like a common feeling right now amongst fans. But I think you really got to watch him carefully. You got to watch what his role is and how they're asking him to be used. So personally, that's where I land at least. I don't know. I don't know about this, but maybe. I mean, everybody has their own way of how they want to engage with the media, and I don't know that the games at this point matter that much. But certainly, yeah, experience helps. I like Lively a lot. I think he seems to be a very nice guy.
Go ahead.
I'm very curious. I think they're definitely going to be way more physical with him. I mean, it worked in game 2 versus Miami. The question is like, he can be physical back too, and I think he's expecting it because of that game. Like he did have that one experience right before he got hurt where he had his worst game as a Celtic. Famously, they lost. He was kind of really struggling with that. He was talking about how terrible it felt to go home after that game. So that I'm happy that he had that experience for him because it's going to prepare for any sort of adjustments that the Mavs are going to make. But they're going to certainly up the physicality on him. Maybe they don't put Lively on him as much. Maybe they try somebody else. I'm not sure who that's about. That's your prediction. The Celtics are very good on the road, honestly. I don't see them losing 2 in a row on the road, me personally. But yeah, I think that's true. And honestly, that's probably a smart. Yeah, but it's probably a smart plan, honestly. Okay, I'm falling behind here on these comments, so I'm gonna scroll through. Someone asked about the video of Luka touching his ribs. Yeah, I saw that in real time. I was sitting right there as someone was thinking that. I think he's gonna play, whether he's playing through a little bit of pain. A lot of people are playing through pain right now. Hopefully he's able to play. I want both teams to be at full strength. But I would be very surprised if he's not available tonight. If he's not available tonight, it means he literally can't go because someone like him is not missing an NBA Finals game by choice, right? Let's see. I heard a lot of things. I see someone here wrote about that ABC halftime show. I heard a lot of things about people complaining about that. In-house, we had Red Panda as the halftime show, which I think is one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen in person. It's this woman who I've seen a bunch of her halftime shows, but she balances plates on her legs and then kicks the plates from her legs onto her head and does it 30 times over. And the whole time it's suffering to watch because you're so afraid for her. But the whole time she is smiling and there's music and Scal was helping her. And that was our halftime show. So I'm sorry for those watching at home. I don't know. Can you watch NBC Boston? I think they do a halftime show as well. Maybe that's what's missing in the Celtics space is a halftime show. Maybe I'll think about that one day. But yeah, I've heard bad things. I did not watch. I rewatched the game, but I skipped over the halftime show. How bad do you think Jason Kidd is as a coach? Honestly, as a reporter, I don't really talk about how coaches that much, just because I think we get such a limited view of whether they're good coaches or not. They have a whole staff. We don't know what role they're all playing. We don't know how teams are executing based off what they're being told. So it's hard for me to actually have a strong stance on whether our coach is good or not, especially someone like Jason Kidd that I've only been in a few of his pressers. I haven't followed the Mavs all year. I'm sure the Mavs beat writers have more informed thoughts about that, but I know the Mavericks fan base was low on him and then higher on him, and usually it just kind of coincides with winning. Missoula, if they win it all this year, everybody's going to feel great about him. Same guy he was last year, just a little bit more experience, right? So coaching evaluations from our standpoint is being kind of farther away is really tough. You can see relationships, you can see substitution patterns, there's certain things you can see, but the nitty gritty of it all is just too far removed from most of us, at least. I'm going to skip through some of these questions just because we're going to run out of time and I do need to wrap up here in a sec. I have Celtics winning tonight. I'm going to say Celtics by 8 points. So JT's efficiency. Yeah, it's one of the things. He's struggled with shooting threes this year, this playoff run, and that happens. And again, people always want to indict players when they struggle shooting. Al Horford earlier in the playoffs, Sam Hauser in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's these are guys that they've been here before, not NBA Finals, but they've struggled with their shot many times in their lives. And so they're not going to be rattled by it. They know that their shot's going to be back. His shot's going to be back. Maybe he comes back tonight. Maybe he hits 6 threes tonight. Who knows? He's kind of due for one of those nights too. So I'm not worried about it as well. I don't think that's going to be the difference between them losing or winning the series either. Damn, it's so cold here. Oh, thank you, Jack, with the breaking news or 10 minutes ago news that Luka is on course to play. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying, so that works. Okay, so I guess Celtics are wearing black. Again, yeah, I'm the last person to ask about uniforms. I don't even notice what they're wearing, honestly. Okay. Scrolling through these. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. I see someone asked if Jack's been unkind. Jack gets roasted in the videos. He doesn't deserve it, but the videos are pretty funny. If you haven't checked out CLNS's vlog, it's a good watch. You can see some of the behind the scenes of what it's like to cover the team, post game, everything. Probably some of the reporters that you know. Justin Turpin or Bobby Krivitsky, or Alex Barth from 98.5. A bunch of people were featured in the last one. So check out CLNS Media's vlog from Finals Game 1. Appreciate everybody for checking in, tuning in. Yeah, we have 1,600 people on right now. I'm sure people are going to tune in the next few hours on YouTube. You can find You can find this on my YouTube channel on CLNS's, Noa Dalzell NBA. Sorry, I'm not getting through all the questions here. I can do a few more. I don't want to test my luck. I basically want to move. Oh, sorry. Are you live? Yes, but I can. Am I in your spot? No. Oh, go ahead. I just you. Oh yeah, all good. No, all set. Sorry. No. See, that was the first person actually moved, and I think people think that I'm doing something more important than I am. But okay, cool. We're gonna wrap it up. Oh, there's so many questions I didn't get to. I didn't realize how far behind I was. Like literally 40 questions. I was so far behind. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I do appreciate all the questions. I see my brother's in the chat. I didn't even see. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up though. I'm gonna be posting a bunch of stuff on Twitter. Gonna be posting clips. The guys are still warming up. JD Davison, Jordan Walsh, Drew Peterson, all those guys. And then I'll plug this at 5:30. We're gonna be going. Me and Bobby Manning are gonna be going live to do a pregame like hit with like the mics and everything. So yes, so I'll be able to do some more pregame takes there. Yeah, appreciate all the questions, comments, like, subscribe, appreciate it. Yeah, sorry for having to cut it off here. But yes, thank you all. Have a good one, and I will be back live tomorrow from 4 o'clock from the airport, or 4:30 from the airport. My flight boards at 5. 4:30 from the airport. There's going to be a lot of background noise and everything. Have a good one. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and good luck. Getting distracted. Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, cool. Bye everyone.